Hello everyone, welcome back to Susie Saves. I'm Susie, and it is time, a long-awaited video, you guys. I'm super excited for today. The 8th of November is this channel's 1-year birthday. I have officially been budgeting for a year now, and I wanted to kind of go over a little bit of that backstory and then look at the actual numbers for how much we saved this year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and do that. So, why did I start this channel? It's a great question, and I get it sometimes, so let's just go through it. I started this channel in November of 2023. In February 2023, I quit my job. I was transitioning into a new career, and we had a big, extravagant trip planned to go to Japan. And so I knew that my corporate job was not going to let me take off the amount of time I wanted to, so I just quit it. And then I worked from home for a little bit doing a different job, but that job kind of piddled out sooner than I had thought it would. And then we coasted along until August, and August we left for a month. It was 35 days. We traveled Japan all around. We spent a whole lot of money. We kind of had reckless abandon. It was a great trip. But as soon as we got back home, we had to ask for money for rent for the first month that we were back. And I kind of thought to myself, like, oh, I kind of messed up. I wouldn't trade that trip for anything, but I was very much, it's a future Susie problem. I'm not worried about it. And then I was future Susie, and it was really a problem. So I put in a lot of job offers, and I got the job I still currently have, which luckily has been a fantastic job. And November 8th, 2023 was that first paycheck from my new job, and I used it to do a budget open and a cash stuffing here on the channel. I don't know how many of you have been around like from way back then, but I used to use just these little envelopes because I didn't want to waste any money buying a binder to store my money in. So I got those for like $1 at the Dollar Tree for like 100 of them. And I was using them for months before, for Christmas, I had my friends buy me binders. I didn't buy them myself. They were gifted to me from my wish list. So that was then. That trip was very expensive. And now it's 1 year later, and we are going to go through where I was then and where I am now. And maybe it'll give you a little bit of an insight. Maybe it'll give you a little bit of thought-provokingness on your own budget journey, but let's begin. So I have all the numbers because it was a really big day for me to decide to kind of start this channel for accountability and also not live the way I was living anymore. It was a really big deal for me because I was always making money to spend it. I never did get into any credit card debt or anything like that, but I wasn't managing my money for the future. So on November 8th, 2023, I had $12.63 in my checking account. That was a lot because before this I was negative for a few weeks, which is not great. You don't want to owe the bank money. So just wasn't great. I had a money management account. This account is attached to my IRA, like there's the same bank. And so I had a little bit of money in there. I had $161.86. It's a bank that I put all the money into before we left for our trip because they have international ATM access. So this was where the majority of my money was when we spent it all. The Roth IRA, luckily, can't pull out retirement until your retirement age. So it had grown a little bit. It was at $12,000 $757.08, which was the majority of the money I had at the time, which sucks because it's unreachable. But it's also growing, so it's kind of, you know, it is what it is. 401k, I had a 401k when I quit my job, but obviously I quit the job and then I had to roll that over into the Roth IRA, so I had no 401k. Emergency fund, I didn't have one. I had $0 in the emergency fund, $0 in any CDs. I had none of my budget categories, nothing. I had no money set aside for cat food, no money for if anything happens to the car, no money to pay the phone bill that was coming up in December, no money to pay car insurance, which was another like $1,000 bill coming up in December. I had nothing. And that was one of the reasons why it was such a wake-up call when I got home. I had never had to ask for money to pay rent before. And it was the first time that I had to like beg someone to just live. And it was really a changing point for me in my finances, because I didn't want to feel like a burden. Like, I hate asking for money. And so even a smaller amount of money, I was like, I can't believe I don't even have this. And people were getting worried about our financial situation, and that kind of weighed on me as well, because I didn't want people worrying about me all the time. So I was like, I'm gonna get a job and I'm going to know where every dollar I ever make from that job goes to. And I'm very happy because this whole year I have been tracking every single dollar that I spend and every single dollar that I save, and I know exactly where all that money has gone. That will be a video coming out at the end of the year to see the breakdown of the expenditures this year. But that was a year ago, and it's now November again, which is so crazy to think about because it just went by so fast. But that's the trap, right? It just goes by so fast. So if you don't think about it, you can just save nothing for years and years and not even like realize it. So as of November 11th, 2024, how are we looking? As you can see, the net worth is basically all my Roth, which is still the case. It is an investment fund, so it's going to be like that. But how are all these other categories looking? Well, let's look. My checking account had $105.04. This is a buffer. So I keep a little bit of extra money in my checking account in case when the internet comes out, or if I forget about some kind of reoccurring yearly thing, it won't send my account negative, because that is what had happened before. Around this time, one of my subscriptions comes out. It's yearly. It's like $25, and it put me negative because I only had $12 in there, and that was the only time in my life I've ever been negative in my checking account. I freaked out. It was really scary. Okay, for the cash management account, I actually have not put any money into this account. It's just been organically growing because it is invested. So it is up to $265.62. This money management account I do plan to really crank up once my husband gets his job, as well as the Roth IRA, though I have put almost $4,000 into the Roth IRA this year, and it has grown hugely as of November 8th. It is at $21,882.53, which is just crazy, almost double, but absolutely fantastic. I am still a contract worker at my job, so I do not get benefits, including a 401k, so I still do not have that. That's why I've been kind of dedicating so much money to the Roth, because I really do want to get back to investing, and you can clearly see like the growth. That's not always the case. Sometimes there are bad years, but the earlier you do it, I'm still pretty young, I'm 25, so the earlier you do it, the more it can grow. So I'm really looking forward to making that more and more. So the emergency fund is less than I want it to be. It's currently at $1,000. Whoopsies. I'm kind of thinking this should probably be closer to $5,000. That is one of the goals for next year, is to bump that back up. Our certification of deposit, people know these as CDs. I would love to do a CD ladder one day. I don't have the funds to do that right now. The current CD is at $1,037.71. It has a very low return still. I think it's 0.12 maybe. It's pretty low, but it is at my local bank, so it's not tied up in stocks or anything. It is the CD, so it will be held. I think it's a 3-month CD, so if I ever have to pull this $1,000 out, I can wait and then, kind of replace it with this CD if I need to. The Pets Fund has $40. The Pets Fund is really up and down because they always need things, and obviously we had a pet emergency this year, so it would probably be a lot higher, but she's alive and that's all we can ask for. Car maintenance is also pretty low because I'm getting another oil change coming up soon. It's at $23. But it's not, to me, it's not so much how much money is here, rather than I have money put aside for this because I just didn't have anything, So the fact that there's money here at all, is a very big thing to me. And then these are the big players. The phone bill, which is currently fully up to date, is $559. And then the car insurance, which is getting there very soon, is at $320. So I had to front both of these bills last year. I remember I did not have the money to pay them. Almost $1,000. I think they're both about like $500 at the end of the year. And I had no money to pay them. I had to ask my parents to do it, and then I had to pay them back, and it was just very stressful, especially around Christmas time when you want to buy presents for people and you want to like be merry, and it's supposed to be new beginnings at the new year, and it was just stress after stress after stress for me. And so I was like, never again, So with all of that saving this year, what is our net worth now, you might be asking? I know I was asking, because I don't stress anymore about when money is coming in and things like that. Not that I'm, rich by any means, but it's been very nice to not have to worry about a little bit extra money spent on groceries this month or anything like that. So our new net worth is over $25,000, which is so crazy. That means that we nearly doubled. We got $12,301.33 added to last year's net worth, which is so wild because that's nearly double. And like I said, I do fully admit that most of it is in the Roth because it's invested, and so it will exponentially grow, but I still put it there, I don't know how much that growth would have been if I hadn't still put in that extra $4,000, So I think at least half of this is just from me. The other half is the investment, but it's so weird to look back and reminisce about a time that was like really stressful and also like super great, because the trip was fantastic and I really wouldn't change anything about it. I just would have changed how I prepared for it, and more importantly how I prepared for what was going to come after, which I did zero. I did not prepare at all for it. But we're back on track. This is a 2-person household. I am the sole provider. I'm the only income we have right now. So being able to save this much, being the sole provider, I was pretty happy with. And I hope that my husband's going to get a job soon. And if he gets this job he's currently looking at, he will be making more than me and our income will double, and then some. I'm still trying to be skeptical. It's not a big deal if he doesn't get the job because we have been living off my income for a year now. Like, it's clearly something that we can do. But I think it obviously would drastically reduce the stress and also make funding the IRA and funding the emergency fund and putting money back in the cash management account like exponentially easier if we had all that extra coming in. But that's it. Thank you so much for this first year here on YouTube. I felt very welcome by everyone in the community, and everything going on. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, which is just crazy. I never would have thought that many people would be interested in my journey and seeing what's happening, but we're doing it. We're trucking along. Look forward. Next month we have the what I spent in a year breakdown coming out like I do every month. It's the same thing, but with the entire year of 2024, which is pretty crazy. Thank you all so much. If you're here and you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. You can be cool like that. If not, tomorrow I'll be going into what I put into my Roth IRA again this week, and then budget opens and closeouts. We also have the October what I spent in a month coming up soon, so if any of that interests you, stick around. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your Monday, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good night, everyone.